Brad, such a big game for the club. How disappointing is that?
Oh, it's obviously extremely disappointing. But I mean, clearly the end result's extremely disappointing. But more disappointing than that was, a lack of effort and intent, which has been present for most of the year, and particularly in the third quarter, our effort and intent in the contest was really poor, and across the course of the game it was poor. And it doesn't take much in this game to, if you drop off in that area, for you to look second rate, and we look third rate today. So that's the most disappointing aspect. Clearly the result, but I mean, we're process driven, and if you have effort like that in the contest, and really at 3/4 time we simplified it just to show some effort in the contest. It's like, if you don't have that as a foundation, which has been a foundation for us this year, then you can't beat anyone.
Are you able to explain that or get to the bottom of why it wasn't there?
I wish it was as easy as that. I mean, your effort and intent, they're intangibles somewhat. Like you can't. It's not as simple as going out and telling players to give more effort. And it's been a hallmark of our game, and it's why we've been in pretty much all bar a couple of games. We've been in every game we've played. But when it's not there, we drop away, and clearly we're not good enough. No one's good enough to give that level of effort in the contest, but we're certainly not anywhere near good enough. And look, we knew St Kilda were going to try and possess the ball. That's again just bitterly disappointing. We didn't take that away at all. They controlled the game, and when we did have them under some semblance of pressure, and particularly in our forward 50, our complete inability to apply any pressure. And when we did apply some pressure, and they just kicked the ball out of defensive 50 to a -1 contest and mark it, and we end up 16-5 contested marks. So you can't build any pressure when that's happening. You can't get the game back on your terms when that's happening. So there are a lot of things in the game that were really disappointing, but the contest both in the air and on the ground were the biggest things.
You've mentioned the intangibles, like effort and intent. What are some tangibles that you can kind of fix in the next couple of weeks as you have kind of a difficult run into finals?
Oh, well, I mean, taking more than 8 marks inside 50 would be a good start. So the ability to you're not going to mark the ball every time going inside 50, but we've got to get better in that particular area. But what we have been able to do, while we'd like to connect better and convert better from our inside 50s, we've been able to pressure pretty well throughout the year, and we had just negligible pressure in our forward half, and the ball just bounced out.
Brad, during the third quarter, did you consider from a coaching perspective taking away the +1 behind the ball to go 1-on-1 just to stem the bleeding?
Yeah, we went on 1 pretty early in the second quarter too. So yeah, it's always Brad Hill's coming up to the contest. Do we want to leave him free at the contest? We didn't. But when we had +1 behind the ball and they kicked it forward and still marked it, then it's that's a pretty hard decision to make, because they're marking the ball when you have got +1 behind it, and then you want to take that away and not have +1. So, we evened up the contest. Started to get it looking better in the second quarter, but it's whatever we did didn't work today.
Was that also when Jordan went off the ground with his injury? Did that sort of throw things out in terms of your perspective, how you wanted the game to set up?
Yeah, it didn't help, but I mean, we've worked on our versatility and flexibility. We had enough defenders to go back. We had guys playing there who haven't played much there, but that's no excuse for the the lack of competitiveness in the air. And it was all parts of the ground. It wasn't just wasn't at either end. It was all parts.
Brad, how can it get to this point in the season where you're asking your team for effort when so much is on the line? You must be astounded by that, and just the fact that that's the issue at the moment.
Do I ask them for more effort?
Well, it wasn't there today, you said.
Yeah, no, it's look, the thing about effort is that it's marginal. Like you're talking about, like both teams giving good effort, but one's it's like a little bit off where it needs to be, and we're not where we need to be in that area consistently for long enough. We've shown it at different stages, but it's the ability. When you're a really good team, you can do it for 125 minutes consistently, week in, week out, and we haven't been able to do that. The first half of the year, again, we got some results, but I was really clear on where I thought we were, and that we're looking to take steps forward, and we haven't taken enough steps forward. But I was under no illusions as to what the challenge would be, getting this team back to where we want it to be. And we've still got a lot of steps to take before we're there. So, the ladder throughout the year will show various things. The competition's really tight. I've never looked at our position on the ladder and thought that reflected where we need to be. I look at it as we want to play a style that's competitive against the best teams, and that gives us a chance to compete at the pointy end of the year. And right here, right now, we're not there. That's pretty obvious.
Where's Ridley at? What was the injury there?
Oh, he got a nasty knee in his hip, but it was to the front of his hip. So we had some concerns around his quad that he's had injured before. It's the same leg. It's certainly not. We don't think it's we don't know is the bottom line. But he had a fair bit of pain, couldn't function, so we had no choice to sub him off. But we'll scan that and. Fingers crossed, it presents like a knee to the hip, which is a pretty severe cork, and hopefully it's something more serious than that.
Moving the ball off half.
Go ahead.
Do you feel like there was an overcorrection with moving the ball off half back? It was a bit of an issue last week. Perhaps relayed that message, try and be a bit more cautious, and this week it's resulted in a lack of penetration.
Oh, well, I thought we were a bit slow early. We didn't move the ball in the first quarter, but we adjusted that in the second quarter, and that's I think we got back in front playing that way. So yeah, it's just consistency of that. I don't think it was an overcorrection. Yep.
The body language. Sorry, I was just going to say the body language at 3/4 time. Heads were dropping. What did you do from that perspective to try and lift them and say, guys, you've got to play out this game? What is the motivating thing that you've got to sort of swing to them and sell to them in that in that situation?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. It's the ball's there. Let's compete like our life depends on it. And unless you have that, the rest of it doesn't matter. So it's a pretty simple message at 3/4 time. Thanks.